Hey, this is Stephen Rothberg. I'm the founder of College Recruiter, where we believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. I am joined today by our company's president and chief operating officer, Brad Boggs. Brad, you want to say hello?
Hey, Stephen. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So we were talking over the last couple of days about the topic that we have at hand here, and I thought it was kind of interesting because we've definitely seen different things over the years with how employers handle posting jobs, whether it's to their own career site, their ATS, to job boards, both. And we thought that it would be helpful to kind of dig in and talk about how employers are handling those jobs that kind of exist everywhere, whether
hmm
they're remote or whether it's kind of the same job, same employer, but in a whole bunch of different locations. Do you want to
Right.
maybe start off by talking about kind of how employers do that to their own ATS or to their own career site?
Yeah, it's really, we start with a broad topic to particularly with remote, what does remote mean to the employer based on how they hire and their hiring needs. And what I mean by that, there's probably at least four cases just for remote jobs.
Hmm.
Um, an employer is hiring a remote job for candidates living in a specific city. Maybe at some point they're going to decide to bring those candidates back to the office, or into hire them into a hybrid environment. But they also often post them remote, right, to reach more candidates. When I was at LatPro and Diversity Jobs, we hired remote salespeople, but they had to live within a specific state where we were registered as an employer. So there's a remote job to be located in a specific state.
Way
There are
way
true,
easier for payroll benefits,
exactly.
all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's truly nationwide, something like USA remote jobs. An employer can hire somebody remote, possibly work from home. You can live anywhere within the US. And then finally, a remote job anywhere globally. We'll hire you to work anywhere you live as long as you have the right skill set, the right, experience and accomplishments. So starting off, boiling down, what does remote really mean in the employer's use case? I think most ATSs and most job boards handle it such that when you're posting a job, you probably have to specify a location, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it's city, state, country,
Yep.
or remote, right? Some have really good, effective remote tags, right? So that's generally how it's handled. But the problem is when you are open to hiring or recruiting nationwide, you're probably not going to post the job in a bunch of different local markets. Probably not to your ATS, and certainly not to most job boards, probably, because that would
Mhm.
require duplicating the work, posting a job to individual markets, and likely paying for individual job posting fees like that.
Yeah, I remember years ago when we had the occasional employer with a need like this, whether it was truly a remote job or whether it was just like, no, we have this job in like 48 different locations around the US or in
Right.
Europe or whatever, that we had a function that employers could use. And I know a lot of job boards do ATS too, where they would clone it or copy it. So you
Right.
post it once, that might take you 5 or 10 minutes. You click clone, change the location, submit, and you do that over and over and over again. Well, it's one thing if you're doing that a dozen times and you have to do that once a month. It's still time consuming. It's not horrible, but we have employers that will literally hire people no matter where they live in a particular country or in a market like the EU, or even
Right.
globally. So, what we've done for those employers, well, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Let's, I'll hold off on why don't we talk a little bit about sort of those, how college recruiter handles those sorts of situations where it's like anywhere in a metro, anywhere in a state, province, region, anywhere in a country, anywhere globally.
Right. Yeah. And to take a quick step back to your point, the reason it would be beneficial to actually duplicate the job into individual markets, whether it's dozens, whether it's, hundreds, whether it's thousands potentially globally, is you can reach candidates in local markets searching for jobs within the local market.
Right.
It sounds very simple, but there are still a lot of job boards who don't properly handle that if you just post a remote job. You're missing candidates looking for jobs near me or looking for a job in Dallas, Texas. Well, if it's remote, you also want to make sure that that job actually shows in Dallas, Texas for somebody who wants to live there, but they'd be happy to take a remote job there, right?
Yeah, great point. And thank you for bringing me back to that, because that was another thing that used to sometimes work, sometimes not. We'd have an employer that would post a job to a really big metro like New York City, London, UK. And in the text of the ad, they would
Right,
say something like, this job is available anywhere, or this job is also available in these states or these cities or whatever. And that works okay if the candidate is not putting anything into the location field. But
right,
if they are searching for sales and they put Dallas, Texas, but you're running that job under New York, New York, it's not going to come up with
right.
most ATS, with most job boards. Even if it says it in the text, it's sort of tagged that
Yeah,
way.
the
So the
location would be
software
more
will
of like
only show up those Dallas, Texas jobs.
yeah, exactly. If it's in the body, the location's more of what needs to show as a keyword
Yeah.
in the what field you're searching. Yeah,
Yeah. So that works on Google searches, but it
right,
doesn't work for a lot of ATS or for a lot of job boards where you have to select a location. So
right.
yeah, good point.
Yeah, and second benefit to that, if you're targeting college students, recent grads, alumni, you really also want to be in local markets, even if you have
Mm,
nationwide and or remote jobs, right? So you want to reach candidates searching for opportunities in local markets, or your postings, you want them to be picked up by specific colleges, universities, alumni networks in local markets, right? So because of that, that's really how College Recruiter handles it. We do the duplication job posting work for you, right? We also don't charge per job posting fees. So if you have one job but you're hiring anywhere nationwide, what we do by default is duplicate that job, post it to the top, I believe 132 right now, local markets by population. I think that's all the locations in the U.S. City locations with at least 100,000 people or more,
yep.
right? So we do that job posting work for you to make sure candidates searching locally or nationwide remote will find the job opportunity, so you can hire truly the best candidates, right?
And again, that's only for the employers that are hiring for jobs that are located everywhere, right? If an employer
Right,
has a job and it's only in Dallas, Texas, then they should only post it to Dallas, Texas.
right,
But if
exactly.
that job
That's a
is
good
in
point.
47 different metros, we do that cloning on our end. If it's literally nationwide, we do that on our end. And I think
Right.
we've had some employers, kind of like you're saying, that it's like, no, this is a truly remote position anywhere in
Yeah,
the world. And
exactly.
then it's like essentially it's thousands of postings. No employer has the time to do that manually.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that. Get the job board to do that work for
Yeah.
you, right? If you have that. A great use case for this, we have a client who hires part-time AI prompt engineers and content writers. Great job for college students, right?
Yeah.
So they can hire anywhere nationwide. So we post the one job, clone it to all these individual local markets to reach the best student candidates in this case. I would have loved a job like that while while I was in college.
Well, yeah, it would have been no. I'm not going to go down the artificial intelligence rabbit
Right.
hole. That's
Different pod.
yeah. One of the things that you just mentioned, Brad. When that job is posted to a local market, Boise, Idaho. For example, like decent sized metro area. The reality is most employers, when they're posting a job, even nationwide, you know, Idaho, like those of us in the Midwest, it's not top of mind. Let's just, realistically for people on the coasts. And yet, a lot of times that's where the best candidates will come from.
Right.
There's less competition. It's harder to find that job if you're in a state like Idaho instead of
Mhm.
a state like Massachusetts. Um,
Right.
the schools also, if, when we partner with a lot of schools, so employers advertise a job with us, then a lot of times those jobs also go onto college and university career service offices. The
Right.
school in Boise, Idaho is going to have fewer employers going after their students than a similar school would in, say, San Francisco. So the competition
Exactly
for
right.
the talent is lower too.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's a good point. Employers very often know or think they know where their best candidates come from, which schools those candidates attend, which local markets. They're often surprised if they open it up to other markets, how great the quality of candidates can be, or how the job postings convert in other markets. So I would recommend testing this out, right? Working with job boards and external sources that can do this work for you. And then from there, can optimize performance based on the conversion you're seeing of the click to application ratio and the quality of the applicants coming through. So, if you start with, 130, 150 individual markets, now you can go in on the top 20, the top 40, where all your best candidates are coming from, right? It can be optimized based on performance.
So before we leave off, one more question that I have for you too is that a question that a concern really that I often will hear from employers or the people that work on their behalf, an employment advertising agency, an RPO, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is, well, if we post this job nationwide or even globally, we're going to have tens of thousands of people that apply, but we only want to hire 5 or 10 or 20. How does College Recruiter handle that so that if the job runs in a lot of places, that the employer is not going to be overwhelmed with applicants?
Yeah, great question. So it goes back to what's the employer's hiring need. If you need to hire one person or 5, you might not want to go live in 150 different markets, or you might want to, but only have the posting live for a day or 2 days, and all that can be controlled on the front end, right? The more information we have, or the job board has, the better to meet your needs. So you're not inundated. So you can get the best quality, the best volume in the time frame you need it, without being overwhelmed, right? All
So
that can be, sort of throttled, if you will. You can get candidates at the pace you need.
yeah, so the throttling is kind of what I was thinking about. Sometimes when you post a job to a job board, especially the more traditional ones, traditional duration based, they typically run for 30 days. If you've
Right.
received enough applicants, you've got to go in and manually shut those down.
Yeah.
Where a lot of sites like ours that are primarily cost per click, cost per application, you give the job board your budget, and when you've had enough candidates go to your ATS, the click or apply, that those postings just come down instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So you might get everybody you need in 3 days
Right.
instead of 3 months.
And the budget in that case doesn't have to just be dollars. Your
Right.
budget could be, I want this posting removed automatically when I get 100 applicants or 500 applicants, right? And that can all be automated again from the start.
Yeah. Right. Or euros or sterling
Right.
or Australian dollars or Canadian dollars or whatever. It's like I've learned more about currency the last few years since we've really become global than I think I ever wanted to
Right. Exactly.
know.
Yeah. Different ball game.
Awesome. Well, Brad, this has been great. Any closing words on this topic? If people want to learn more?
Yeah, people want to learn more, College Recruiter /employers or /pricing. You can talk with our team. You can chat with our chat bot to learn a lot of this, right? Find out how many applicants it'll take to reach your hiring need. What's the associated cost? But chat with us, consult with us. We'd love to help out.
Cool. Awesome. Well, have a good rest of your day. And this has, again, been very helpful. Thanks, Brad.
Appreciate it. Thank you. See you next time.
Cheers.